and leaves and debris and things like that. Utility operations is also assisting. They're concentrating mainly on the storm sewer system, and a few areas to report of note. The 9,000 block of East Superior Street, far east Duluth, there's a culvert or two that's undermined in that area. Norton Road, the culvert that washed out during the spring, there was some slight damage to one of the abutment areas, the end walls, and that's being repaired, but the road was never closed, never in jeopardy, and that will have a permanent repair next summer. Niagara Street near St. Scholastica has a fairly significant undermining problem there. That's been patched and also passable. And we've got just general debris in a lot of our culverts that we're going to be removing within the next couple of weeks. City staff also investigated or inspected the Hartley Dam. It's in fine shape and intact. So that's the damage that I'm aware of at this time. Obviously, staff is still investigating, and we will repair things as we find them. And if residents find any damage that they want to report to us, they can report that at 730-4000. So in closing, once again, I think our system fared very well, and just like the mayor said, want to thank the city staff and county staff and WLSSD staff that was out working on this over. It always happens on a weekend, Sunday, or it happens at 3 o'clock in the morning, most inconvenient times, but staff did respond great in this case. And I'll pass it off to Jim Foldesy.
It's the Jim Show, I guess. Thank you, Director Benning. Good afternoon. My name is Jim Foldesy. I'm the St. Louis County Public Works Director. I'll give a quick summary of kind of our experience with St. Louis County infrastructure. So St. Louis County has about 25 locations that received some sort of damage over the weekend. The damaged areas are mostly confined to the very southeast corner of the county in Duluth, Lakewood, and Normanna townships. About half of the damaged areas are shoulder washouts, and then the other half are small culverts, mostly on gravel roads, and those are typically a road overtopping, and it's washing away some of the gravel around the culvert area. So we were out yesterday and again today addressing these issues, and we should have all of our roads repaired and back open by the end of the day today, with the exception of the Strand Road between Jean Duluth Road and Washburn Road. That's probably our most damaged location. It'll probably be about $50,000 worth of work to repair that location, but our folks were saying they were trying to get that one open by the end of the day as well, so we'll see. And then also the Fox Farm Road at the Sucker River crossing, there we're just waiting for the water to recede. We don't expect there to be a lot of damage at that location. So most roads will be open by the end of the day, and also most repairs will be completed. The water is receding, thankfully, at all the locations that had issues. And again, a big thanks to our maintenance crews out there who are working hard to get the repairs done. So yes, St. Louis County's infrastructure has sustained some damage in this event, but it is the kind of damage that can be fixed in days, not weeks or months or years, as we saw back in 2012. Oddly, this is really a success story that it wasn't much worse. Many of the large box culverts, bridges on the larger stream and river crossings were replaced following the 2012 flooding event, and we are now reaping the benefits of a more resilient infrastructure system that can stand up to occurrences like this. The City of Duluth, Hermantown, Proctor, Rice Lake, MnDOT, and others, including the townships, can say the same. That the flood really did have a silver lining in 2012, when we were able to replace a lot of our structures and increase capacities. But that work is not over. We've been performing resiliency planning with the City of Duluth, FEMA, and others to continue addressing infrastructure vulnerabilities, so that work goes on. St. Louis County Emergency Management is working with the City of Duluth and the surrounding townships to compile damage assessments to determine if it will rise to the level of a state or federal disaster declaration. With St. Louis County Public Works, we're estimating about $100,000 to $150,000 worth of damages at this time. That's an early assessment. All entities need to report a combined total of over $440,000 in damages in St. Louis County to meet the state declaration threshold. So we'll be working with our partners to add up those numbers and see where that lands. And then finally, a reminder again about safety. Don't drive through standing water when these types of events occur. Turn around, don't drown. We hear that saying quite often in these situations. Call 911 to report unsafe road conditions that are not already marked with signs and barricades. You know, we find that in flooding situations like this, the problems move. We have to chase them around as that water goes through the drainage system. And so something that wasn't flooded, 5 hours later it might be. So we can't chase around the county and be everywhere at once. So we really appreciate the eyes and ears of our citizens to report these situations by calling 911 when they do occur. And we also thank the public for its patience as we make the repairs out there. So with that concludes my remarks.
Thank you. So in regard to WLSSD, happy to report we had no damage and really very, very few issues during the high rain event. The average flow that we'll see at the wastewater treatment plant is generally in the 35 to 40 million gallon area. During this past rain event, we did peak above 100 million gallons a day and sustained above 80 million gallons a day, even going into today. In 2012, that would have resulted in overflows throughout the system. In this particular case, we did report overflows in 3 locations, an active overflow on London Road and 13th Avenue East that had a duration of about 40 minutes, and then 2 manholes that had small overflows that resulted in us just having to reseal the covers and a little bit of cleanup, one in Hermantown by the mall area and one in Jefferson and 14th. Really unheard of compared to the experiences we would have had in the past. Again, everybody working together makes these events easier and easier to manage, and the investment in infrastructure is really benefiting all of us in the area when we have unanticipated events such as this. Just a reminder for folks, when we see at the sanitary district flows in excess of 100 million gallons a day, that means we have stormwater getting into the system. And so for homeowners and businesses, just a reminder to make sure your sump pumps are not being pumped to the sewer, but being pumped outside. Roof drains are disconnected from the sanitary sewer system, and those type of actions will ensure that we have no overflows in situations like that in the future. Thank you.
So before we take questions, I just want to say that when I woke up yesterday morning, I'm sure like everyone else, I didn't think we would be sharing a success story today. But I'm so proud of these partners who have taken advantage of every kind of funding opportunity that we've had to create resilience in our system and to make sure that the inconvenience of changing weather and the impact of these major rains are as minimal as possible for our residents. And so thank you everybody for being here and telling your part of the recovery story and the impact in the last day or two. We'll continue to report out as we know more about what the damages are and how we'll be navigating those. And Kelly, do you want to talk us through any questions people may have?
Yeah. Okay, so before I do that, I just want to bring up one more talking point for the park system. Because our natural surface trails are pretty saturated at this point, a lot of them have seen a little bit of damage to maybe some moderate damage, and we want to make sure that people stay off of those trails until they're fully dried out. So we ask residents to just be aware of that. And if you need a definition, a natural surface trail is anything that's not paved in the trail system. With that, does anybody have any questions for anyone in the room? Which Jim?
All right, won't be a hard time. We did have a lot of rain over the weekend, but when did, it kind of was like off and on, it seemed like, so when did your people start getting reports of the problems? Was it like kind of right away in the morning Sunday? I know we got some downpours in Saturday night too, so.
Yeah, I believe the majority of it happened when people woke up and saw the damage. It obviously started raining before that, but the true extent of it became a little more evident as the light came up and people started milling around the city. That wasn't bad.
Other questions? Really? All right. Well, if nobody has any other questions, I just want to say thank you all for coming up and wish you all a dry and happy day. Thanks. Am I good to shut this one off?
Boss is behind her, so.